Hello and welcome back to the Leinster Listen. This is episode 7. I'm your host Mick Lenan and this is the preview of the Ulster interprovincial game upcoming this Friday. The topics we'll discuss in this episode are the URC games of this weekend, the details of our game, both team lineups, the score and man of the match prediction, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the James Lowe interview and the London Irish rugby team joining the URC competition. Alright, so let's start this with the URC games this weekend. I'm going to give each of the games and then probably my prediction of who's going to win those. As you know, not a betting man, so we'll get cracking into that. So first off, we have Leinster versus Ulster. As you know, Leinster are going to win that one. Cardiff versus Scarlets. I do think Cardiff are going to win that. Stormers versus Lions. Stormers, big choice there. Benetton versus Zebre. I think Benetton. Glasgow versus Edinburgh. I do think Edinburgh are going to win that, and they're going to upset the Glasgow Warriors, who are edging for the top of the table. After that, we have Sharks versus Bulls. I do think the Sharks are going to win that one. Then we have Ospreys versus Munster. I think Ospreys are definitely going to win that one. And we have Dragons versus Connacht, and I do think Connacht will pull the win out of that one. So just before we get cracking into the Leinster lineup itself, let's just get the details of our game. So the kickoff is at 7:45pm tomorrow on Friday. The weather is looking dry and cool, about 9 degrees. So that's great to hear, given the weather out there currently. It's in the Aviva Stadium. The referee is Andrew Brace, and actually is a full Irish TMO set there as well. Where you can watch it is obviously in the Aviva Stadium, or you can actually watch it on TG Cahir Osgailga, URC TV, or Premier Sports. All right, okay, so Leinster lineup got put out today. It's a much changed lineup actually from last week. So getting right into it, the backs, full back there we've Kieran Frawley. Yeah, fantastic pick. I do think we'll eventually get him into the out half position, but not this week. On the wings then we have Joshua Kenny and James Lowe. Huge choice there. I love seeing JJ Kenny. You know, he got, I think it was four tries and 2 appearances, so great to see. Number 13 there we have Raiko Ioane for his second start, third game, so fantastic to see as well. Number 12 there, it's Charlie Tector time, let's go. And number 10 then we have Sam Prendergast. He's gotten the nod ahead of Harry Byrne there. And number 9 we have Luke McGrath. Going into the forwards there, we have Jack Boyle, Gus McCarthy number 2, we have Slimani in number 3, Brian Deeney number 4, James Ryan number 5, Alex Soroka number 6, Scott Penny number 7, and Jack Conan, our captain, at number 8. Replacements there, and absolutely cracker replacements. 16 coming in for Dan Sheehan, 17 being Paddy McCarthy, 18 being Tyke Furlong, 19 being Big Joe McCarthy, 20 being Max Deegan, 21 Fintan Gunn, 22 Harry Byrne, and finally Ruben Maloney in at 23. So look, fantastic lineup from us there. Obviously you'll notice there's a couple of changes there, but great to see, you know, a lot of the smaller cap players getting a chance there. JJ Kenny being one of the big names. Raiko Ioane obviously having his third cap here and second start. And then Jack Conan, who I can only say, you know, I did not think, and I said it in the review, that I did not think he would be playing. He was pretty much knocked out cold in the last game. But I guess the Lion doesn't concern himself with concussions. Ulster lineup then. So, backs, 15 and full back, Jacob Stockdale. 14 Rob Balcoon. 13 Jude Postlethwaite. 12 is Stuart McCluskey. 11 is Werner Koch. 10 Jack Murphy. And 9 Nathan Doak. The forwards coming in there is 1 Angus Bell. 2 Tom Stewart. 3 Tom O'Toole. 4 Harry Sheridan. 5 Charlie Irvine. 6 David McCann. 6 their captain Nick Tummany. 8 Warno Augustus, and then their replacements 16 John Andrew, 17 Sam Crean, 18 Scott Wilson, 19 Joe Hopes, 20 Byrne Ward, 21 Conor McKee, 22 Jake Flannery, and last but not least 23 Ethan McElroy. So, well, I don't know if you've seen Ulster play recently, but Balcoon there on the wing, he's a monster. So, you know, huge names there. Stuart McCluskey as well. You know, Tom O'Toole. We love to see Tom O'Toole there, but, you know, it's a pain in our side every time we do see him on that pitch. So, yeah, who to watch, I suppose, in those two lineups. For Leinster, obviously, as I said, JJ Kenny, I think he's a cracker of a winger. he got some great tries there against the Dragons. I think he's going to be our next, top player. You're going to see his name everywhere. Of course, Tector time coming in. I'll obviously see Charlie Tector play. It's great to see him. Maybe I'm not too sure about him coming in at 12 there, but I think he's a dynamic player. He can play anywhere. So, look, great to have him on the pitch nonetheless. And then finally, you have Paddy and Big Joe McCarthy, the two brothers, who would be our impact forwards. It'd be great to see them lined up, getting ready to come on in the second half. It'll scare the boots off some of the lads there on the Ulster team. Given the Ulster team there, obviously I might have said Balcoon. He's an absolute machine. He's a try scorer. It just come naturally to him. He's so fast and he's so tall. Great player. Werner Koch there, he's fast as fuck. Oh my god, like if you thought Balcoon was fast, that man is even faster. And then of course we have Tom O'Toole there, who's an absolute animal. So yeah, looking back, I suppose, into the previous games, we last played them not too long ago. It was actually in April. We beat them 41-17. Time before that was actually November of last year. They beat us by a converted try, so it was 20-27. And then actually the last time prior to that was June of 2024. We beat them 43-20. So hopefully we don't keep that kind of rhythm going and they beat us this year, but I think we'll top them. And that leads us into my prediction time. So yeah, I think we'll probably get a bonus point win. I know I said it last week and I was way off the mark, but I do think we'll get a bonus point win. I'll probably beat them by about 10 points plus. So I'm going to give 21-31. Yeah, that sounds about right. We'll see how close I am in the review. And I'll give our man of the match ahead of the game here. I do think if JJ Kenny can get the balls out to him in that wing, I do think he'll be man of the match. He's a dynamic player. He's strong. He's fast. I think he'll pull through, and that'll be him as man of the match, 100%. All right, cool. Yeah. So now we have the lineup sorted, the predictions, all the URC talk. I do kind of want to go into a little bit about James Lowe, and he did an interview there recently. I was reading on it, and it was nice to see, and it was talking about the Ulster game upcoming. And he said, he doesn't hate any of the players, but he does hate Ulster. And he said it is, that would obviously be reciprocal. And, it's great. It's the interprovincial season. It's the winter pros. It's exactly what you want. You want that engagement. We want to be able to hate each other. And it was a great quote from him, actually. He said, it's awesome. I'm not going to try his accent. I'll completely butcher that. And I'm sure I'll get all the Kiwis giving out to me about it. But I'll just directly quote him here, and it says, he said, "It's awesome. It's Christmas time. It's December. Everyone gets to go to the pub and have pints and watch us bait the head off each other. Who doesn't want to do that? It's exciting. If you need external motivation for an interpro, then you're in the wrong room." Spot on. 100% spot on. That's the kind of drive we want, and it's a drive we want behind our two teams. This is a derby. We only have 4 teams on this country, on this island. So we really do need to pull together, and get into the spirit of Christmas, into the spirit of the Winter Pros. It's our sport. Get behind our team, show your support. But as well as that, and he notes on that, we're in the pub and all that. And I did see, there's a level of support, and then there's a little bit level of too much support for the opposite side. And online comments are shocking. I just, sometimes you're thinking, did these people actually understand that the players are real people behind the screen, and they're going to see these comments? And a lot of controversy came, and there was a couple of posts there on Reddit and Instagram about Lowe starting a fight after he got tackled in the Leicester game, and it'll kind of play into a little another interview he did later. But the example there was Lowe went up for a ball, so the ball was passed out to him. He couldn't gather it to begin with, kind of hit it with his hand and went up in the air. He then obviously jumped to gather that, and the Leicester player tackled basically through his legs and flipped him over his back, landing onto his shoulder. Now, as you can imagine, Lowe gets up, goes straight for the man, gets a bit of rough and tumble there. The whole team starts coming in. But you have to kind of remember there that the man has a kid now. He's a dad. He has to be looking after himself. He gets flipped over his head, nearly lands on his neck. Obviously he's going to throw the temper out. That's natural. Who wouldn't get up and be absolutely fuming that's after happening? And it kind of, puts it into what he said recently as well. He's like, as a tackler, and this is a quote from him as well from a different interview, he said, as a tackler, you have a duty of care every time you go into contact. I just think that's it. You can't say if you tackle above the hips, it's going to be a penalty. I don't think you can do that. But the point there, I suppose, he comes from is you have a duty of care going into contact. So him getting up, having a bit of a row there, yeah, fine. I mean, that's natural. But the comments online were atrocious. Like, they really were gunning for him. It was like saying, oh, yeah, that's what he does all the time. And, you know, I think that's ridiculous. It really, like, I won't even go into the worst comments. That's not what this podcast is for. But he did note that, you know, I think the lawmakers are governing the game rather than the match officials. And, you know, Lowe was quoted there saying rugby's in a weird place. It is sort of in a weird place. If you have the lawmakers, you know, changing the rules every year, and one of them being the tackle height, and, you know, next year with the under-20s World Cup, they're going to, or as the Six Nations, they're going to reduce the tackle height again, so even below the sternum again, even further. Like, all those things are great in theory and in law, but if each of the referees on the pitch are going to decide differently, where are the players to stand there? And I do think it's something that we have to tackle, both in the laws that are being governed, but also in the social media outrages. And it's kind of, but those outrages are kind of tied from those laws, because, you know, if people are supporting the team in the game, they look at the laws, they see something that they don't like, the referee doesn't go at the decision, it's straight away heckle. It's just a big riot. So look, it is what it is, as I say. All right, finally, final little note there. I don't know if you've seen it, but the London Irish rugby team are supposedly coming to the URC. Now, it's not entirely confirmed, but it's definitely being talked about. I for one, would like to see it. You know, I know that the Welsh Rugby Union, they're going to reduce the team sizes by 2 this year. You know, amalgamating them into one. 2 of the teams that might be Scarlets and Ospreys. So, you know, there will be a place there. There'll be a mismatch in the Welsh sides. It'll be 3 teams, so they would slot in there nicely. But what's your take on this? How do you see this? Do you think it's a good idea? How do you think the shields will work? You know, will it be the Welsh and London Irish shield? Yeah, do let me know. And I have a post up on Instagram there, and, you know, do go on and make your comments heard. All right, so I think I've held you long enough for that. Thanks again for listening. Again, if you haven't followed us on social media, please do. It's the Leinster Listen. And yeah, look, Friday, 7:45, weather's looking great. Get down to the Aviva, show your support, and have a great weekend, folks. Thanks for listening.